Hurricane Erin is moving northward, and we've got some of the outer bands approaching the outer banks of North Carolina. We've got some gusty winds and coastal flooding that will be an issue from the outer banks of North Carolina all the way up to southern New England. And we'll get into all of that and much more tonight. Where else would you go to get the latest correct weather information? You'd go right here to the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. Support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast if you would by shopping on Amazon. All you got to do is use the referral link that's pinned to the top of the chat board, and it's also on the descriptor to this podcast, to just search for your stuff and buy it. Amazon throws us a little coin for sending you there. The live version of the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, therefore, is commercial free from start to finish, and we'd like to keep it that way. So we thank those of you who have used the referral link to shop on Amazon. And if you are shopping for a weather station, look no further than Tempest by WeatherFlow. The revolutionary Tempest weather system is yours for the taking, and you will join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link for this is on the descriptor to this podcast on YouTube underneath the show's title. Use the coupon code SUMMER2025 because it will be to your advantage. If you do monetarily, you will get
10% off. 10. Yes.
So we're kind of at the point now, because this all started about 10 days ago when everybody was yapping about Erin, and we dealt with model guidance that took it to Brownsville, took it to New Orleans, took it up the west coast of Florida, took it up the east coast of Florida, took it up the eastern seaboard, and the final track is along 73 West, staying offshore, turning northeastward. However, we are going to be dealing with, along the coast, some gusty winds. We won't be getting any rain from the hurricane here where we are, but there will be some coastal flooding issues for the Thursday evening and probably even the Friday morning high tide. And in some places, they're forecasting major flooding, major coastal flooding.
And the big question, just how much coastal flooding are we going to see in the immediate tri-state area? I think the folks who live right along the Jersey Shore and especially the south coast of Long Island will be seeing some significant tidal flooding at the time of local high tide tomorrow night and Friday morning, as well as the storm passes closest to our immediate area. They're already getting battered pretty well along the immediate North Carolina Outer Banks area with some significant wave and wind activity. So the storm, even though it's never going to really make landfall, I don't think it's made landfall anywhere.
No, it hasn't. It's an ocean storm.
It will not. It looks like it'll stay out to sea, but still, it's potent. It is a very potent system and close enough to the mainland U.S. to cause problems in terms of, again, as you mentioned, Joe, tidal flooding, possible beach erosion. It's not a great picture, but certainly we're dodging a big bullet, because the last thing we would have wanted to see, although there are some people out there, I'm sure, who would have wanted to see this.
Why do you want? Well, I know for the weather weenie, I understand that, but it's not the sort of thing I would just go publicly, out there to say you want to see it. And naturally, saying it is not going to make it happen. Things are going to happen the way they're going to happen. We can't wish these things to go someplace. We can't hope these things go someplace. They just are going to go wherever it is they're going to go.
Yeah, and you and I go back a long ways, and I know that back in the late 70s or early 80s, we were saying, why can't this thing get closer to us, or why can't we get, just for the sheer excitement of it. But we have weathered more than a few big storms, and the last thing I would want to see is a storm like this come onshore somewhere in the northeastern U.S., I don't particularly care to have to run my generator for a week or 10 days. Uh, it's not a very nice. What happened? We
I'm
suddenly
sorry, just
blacked
a
out.
second. No, I'm trying to get the hurricane up on the screen here, and
Oh,
it's
okay.
not cooperating. Now it's cooperating. There you go.
And there you are. Yeah. And you can already see on this loop here that the storm has already made the turn, so to speak. You can see on the last few frames of the loop how it's beginning to move in a northeast direction. So no chance of it making landfall along the U.S. coastline, but again, close enough to cause problems, especially in the Outer Banks of North Carolina tonight. And we'll be seeing how folks along the New Jersey and Long Island coastlines are dealing with this at this hour tomorrow.
Right, and the rain that occurred today, just to be clear, is from an upper trough with a weather front that's coming through, and has really nothing to do. None of this is being caused by the hurricane. In fact, it's the upper trough that's going to be creating strong westerly winds across the Atlantic north of 35 degrees north. That's going to turn this. And Joe's correct. If you look at the loop, because the eye was actually fairly visible, uh, it's kind of filled in again. So it's probably past its peak intensity because we did get a little bit of strengthening today. But if you watch the floater loop, and these loops are designed to keep the storm in the center of the picture, and you look at the way the latitude longitude lines move in the last few frames, they slide slightly eastward. So that's telling you that it's probably moving. It's certainly moving east of due north, and probably more like north northeast, or maybe 010 or 020 in terms of a heading. So it'll be interesting to see. One thing's for sure. I mean, this thing is huge. Okay. I mean, you can't. Usually, you could fit the whole hurricane from the high clouds to the center inside one of those latitude longitude boxes, which are uh, 5 degrees wide and 5 degrees north to south, 5 degrees east to west. This one, you can't do that. You have to kind of go maybe 10 degrees on both sides in order to fit the whole storm. And the Hurricane Center made it a point to say that among, in terms of the size of the storm, the geographic coverage and size of the storm, it ranks in the top 25 percentile, which is pretty impressive.
It is, and it certainly does not fit the description of, let's say, a Hurricane Bell from 1976, which was described as a quote tight little storm. This is definitely not a tight little storm. I just wanted to do a correction to post on the chat board by James Davidson, who writes, "It is funny how they were forecasting sunny weather for today a few days ago with temperatures reaching to near 80 degrees, and Friday is supposed to be sunny with temperatures reaching the low 80s." And James, I'm only bringing this up because last Saturday, both my daughter and my wife were questioning me as to what would be the best day to go to our annual pilgrimage to the Dutchess County Fair, which is just to the north of here. We always go every year, and they were asking, so how does the weather look? And I said, well, we can't go Wednesday because I think we're going to have some showers. Well, look out the window. That was Saturday now, so I don't know when the forecasts were suggesting that we were going to have a sunny day today, but it's no surprise to me that we have. And you could go on my Facebook page, and I've been posting forecasts daily since last weekend, and you can see that every day for the last several days I've been saying clouds and a risk of some showers. And yesterday I just said showers or rain. So we knew that it was not going to be a good day today. I did say the best day of the lot would be Thursday. That was back on Saturday. Now I'm kind of sorry that I said that because it looks like tomorrow, when you wake up, you're still going to be looking at cloud cover. You're still going to be looking at the chance for some spotty light rain, not from the storm, not from Erin, but from this upper level trough or this frontal line that is in our vicinity now. But it looks like the combination of the northeasterly or northeasterly winds from Erin, plus the fact that this trough will be dissipating or diminishing, so to speak, tomorrow. There are going to be areas of clearer, drier air moving down from the north. So even though the clouds will be in place tomorrow morning, the further north you go, and we are, as I said, heading north to Dutchess County where the fair is, it's quite possible that, Joe, we're going to be seeing sun increasing from the north during the latter part of the day tomorrow,
Oh yeah.
and with that also temperatures which it looked yesterday if it stayed cloudy through the day tomorrow. I was talking about temps in the 60s, gusty winds from the northeast, chill factors. We don't really talk about chill factors when temps are in the 60s, but I said it'll feel like it's in the 50s. But now that it looks like drier air and sunnier skies will be pushing down from the north tomorrow afternoon, it may very well be that the high tomorrow may reach the low to mid 70s. Still got a little bit coolish for this time of the year, but still low to mid 70s, developing sunshine tomorrow after a rather cloudy start. But again, backing up to what James was talking about, it really didn't look, even from last weekend, like today was going to be a bright sunny day. That trough, that upper level disturbance, was going to be in the position to bring us a bit of unsettled weather, and that indeed has been the case. Now, after tomorrow, Friday looks great, Saturday looks great, and the next chance for seeing any showery or unsettled weather here may not come until later Sunday, or more likely the start of next week on Monday.
So I've got the hazards map up, and I went down to and posted up. This is eastern North Carolina, so we could see some observations from the Outer Banks. I'm going to see if I can make the menu see if I can go 3 times and add some more obs, just to see, just to get an idea of some wind gusts. Diamond Shoals, which is the reporting the buoy, I guess. Is Diamond Shoals a buoy? It's all, or I'm guessing it is. Um, it is, they're 29 gusting to 34. So they're well offshore. When I say well offshore, you can't swim to Diamond Shoals. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Most of the Outer Banks winds are northeast. Looks like 040, 050 degrees, and gusting between at the moment between 25 and 30. I did this because I wanted to see. Sometimes they'll have offshore buoys on this map, but moving this around, I'm not seeing anything. And the red is tropical storm warnings that are up from I believe Beaufort or Beaufort, North Carolina, because there's two Beauforts. One they pronounce Beaufort, the other one's pronounced Beaufort. I forget which is which. But anyway, from there all the way up to Chincoteague, Virginia, which I kind of know how to pronounce. And here's the northern part of that, Virginia Beach. Most of the winds are under 20 miles an hour in terms of gusts up there, and in the southern part of the Delmarva Peninsula, which is as the far northern part of the tropical storm warnings. And then we have tropical storm warnings up for the coastal waters going all the way up to Ocean County, New Jersey. And the dark green, those are all coastal flood warnings. And one area that I do want to point out is Lewis, Delaware, which is down about here. Let's see if I pick. That's Rehoboth Beach. Okay, so I got that wrong. Um, there it is. So Lewis, Delaware, which is at 77 right now and a 10 mile an hour wind. The Mount Holly Weather Service and the coastal flooding statement that they put out with regards to the coastal flood warning is calling for major coastal flooding for this area and also for the shore areas in and around Atlantic City, where they are also forecasting. And this would be for the tides coming up tomorrow. I think for Atlantic City, it's more the evening high tide than the morning high tide. But nonetheless, coastal flooding is going to be significant from this because of how the storm is tracking, where we are in the moon phase, and the wind, which has been onshore all week. So the water's been just basically been piling on to begin with. We have coastal flood warnings up also for Long Island for Thursday night and the morning tide on Friday. The blue that you see is for the high surf. I, I don't understand why they have the blue area of the high surf all the way up to the Long Island Expressway. I mean, I know the map fills out the whole that part of the county, both Nassau and Suffolk, but clearly you're not going to have high surf beyond the South Shore beaches. The water's not going to be lapping up to the Long Island Expressway or the Northern State Parkway. Just want to let you know about that. Am I right, though?
Well, I mean, if they have that up to I-495, I don't even want to know what it's going to be like on the southern state.
Right. Well, yes, exactly. And we also have coastal flood advisories in the light green along the coast of Connecticut, southern Westchester County, around the Bronx, northern Queens, back through Staten Island and the counties of Union and Essex on the Jersey side.
Yeah, it might be just a minor flaw, or whoever put together the graphics or whatever, just kind of spilled over onto
Yeah.
Long Island.
No, I
That's probably
totally,
the reason.
I totally get it. All right, Joe Rayo has got the radars tonight, so he's going to do those, and then we're going to come back to this. By the time we get there, it'll probably be time for the 8 o'clock advisory. So let's take him around. What's going on across eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England, and then we can go down to North Carolina and take a look at what's on their radar.
Okay, well, it's a funny thing that you say that because I was going to start from southwest to northeast, in which case my first radar is nowhere near those places. It's all the way down, in fact, in Fort Polk, Louisiana. Again, I'm starting from the Gulf Coast and then moving north and east, and you can see on this particular view that Louisiana does have some scattered activity, some locally strong showers and storms, which apparently are moving. It looks like they're not moving much at all. If they are moving, it looks like they're developing and moving slowly from north to south, especially across the northern end of Louisiana. That's up near Shreveport. But anyway, they have showers down there. Let's go now north and east over toward Millington, Tennessee. And actually, there's a lot more activity to the south. I'm just going to change this once again. This particular view. Let's go to High Top, Alabama, and you can see. And again, the radars down here are apparently showing the activity pushing from north to south. And there are again some scattered local showers, heavy showers, and probably embedded lightning and thunder as well, along with some gusty, strong winds. We continue north and east, let's say on up to Knoxville, Tennessee. And again, in Knoxville, southeastern Tennessee, we see some areas of showers, diminishing showers down there, and maybe a couple of thunderstorms over in central and northeastern Tennessee. And there's one area here in southwestern Virginia. Let's continue moving north and eastward up into Roanoke, Floyd County, and you can see, like right here along the Appalachian Trail, there are showers and storms, again, widely scattered. And again, they seem to be moving, at least in this vicinity, from north-northeast to south-southwest. And again, not a whole heck of a lot of activity to show you, but in those areas that are getting hit, very, very small but concentrated areas of thunderstorm and shower activity. And then as we continue up to the north and east, now we go into northern sections of Virginia. This is the Washington, D.C. radar. I know the Mets are playing in Washington. I'm not sure whether or not the game was held up because of wet weather or showers, but it looks like there are some scattered showers in and around the nation's capital, and also edging out over into eastern sections of Maryland here. And here is a cell of precipitation which apparently is just fading out over in southeastern sections of Pennsylvania to the north and west of northern Delaware. Up in the New York metropolitan area, we have had our fair share of shower activity. Now it looks like the showers, now this is associated with that upper level system or that frontal line or trough, and you can see that the activity is moving along, covering a good part of Long Island and Connecticut, and also parts of the lower Hudson Valley, and on into southern sections of New England, southern and central New England. Mostly light rain, a few shots of moderate rain. I know, Joe, that some forecasts were indicating localized heavy downpours. Well, that has not occurred, at least in the immediate area, although I see a flare up here over in, it looks like northern sections of Rockland County, and also that area seems to be moving, well, maybe in my general direction. We'll see how that all pans out. But there are showers, and this has nothing to do with Erin. This again is that line, that frontal line that I mentioned, which is in our general vicinity and bringing the wet weather, and everything seems to be moving on a pretty good track from basically from west to east, or from west southwest to east northeast. We'll continue moving up toward the Boston area. Boston showing that for all intents and purposes, central and northern New England mainly dry, but it's southern New England, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island that is seeing, again, light to moderate rain showers. And again, all of this is flowing from west to east. Looks like a lot of this activity heading on offshore. Also, Long Island getting hit with some of this activity too, especially eastern Long Island. And if we continue, let's see if there's anything up in southern Maine. No, as I said, it looks like for the most part, save for a couple of stray showers, central and northern New England are, for all intents and purposes, dry right now. Joe?
All right. I get such a kick out of this, though. It's bot night, apparently. So I guess they're going after all the weather shows, and the bots are. But we know you're real, everybody on the chat board, and those of you lurking in the background. Welcome to tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. We appreciate you being here, and we're going through the coverage of Hurricane Erin. So subscribe to my YouTube channel. Turn your notifications on so you don't miss us, because we're here Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. and the occasional Friday and Saturday. If Erin were coming up on a Friday night, we would add a show. That's what we would do, and we would let you know about it. If you like the show, hit the like button, because we always like it when people like the show. And if we go over 100 likes, Joe gets to toll the bell, and the bell tolls for thee. The 8 o'clock advisory on Erin, the winds are at 110, 32.2 north, 73.2 west. I think it was at 73.3, now it's 73.2. Moving north at 14. So not only are we seeing a solid northward motion, and by the satellite loop, it looks a little bit east of north, but it is now moving a little faster at 14 miles an hour. And you see the turn. They got it labeled as a major for some reason. I'm not sure why. Because on the 5 o'clock, they said that the winds might inch up a little bit more to put it. It's borderline 115. I mean, it's 110, 115. It's going to make that right turn just to the left of 35 and 70 on the forecast, and then it goes east, northeast, and northeast from there. So that by the time we get to Sunday, it's someplace well south of Greenland, and on 2 p.m. Monday, the low center is well south of Iceland, at least according to their particular forecast.
It kind of reminds me of a storm that I remember, and I remember this very well because my mom unfortunately chose. She took my sister and I. We went to Puerto Rico in late August of 1966, and when we arrived right in the middle of all kinds of warnings and advisories for Hurricane Faith, and Hurricane Faith did not. Faith, Faith, Faith did not hit Puerto Rico, thank God. I do remember the rough seas and rough surf on the beaches, however, and all kinds of mayhem going on. I remember my mom. I mean, here's my sister and I in this hotel room, and my mom just sat in front of this big window overlooking the shore, overlooking the beaches, and just looking, and I guess praying as well that we weren't going to get hit by a major hurricane. I bring Faith up, however, because after it passed Puerto Rico, to the north of Puerto Rico, it made the classic big turn, just like um, what we're seeing right now in Erin. And then, after passing well off the mid Atlantic coast, Faith continued north and east, and it kept going and going and going, and it finally dissipated on September the 15th, located just to the north of, get this now, folks, Franz Josef Land. Joseph spelled Josef. That is all the way up in the North Sea near Denmark. That's
Yeah,
where the storm, one of the longest lasting storms, but also one of the few storms that have gone all the way. I mean, within a few hundred miles, Joe, of the North Pole, for God's sake.
yeah, I
Crazy.
know. And actually, I think I read somewhere that there was still an identifiable feature somewhere near the Arctic Circle. You know,
Yeah,
I mean, it just doesn't have. Yeah, it's rare to see something like that, but yeah, it kind of has that same look to it. I am in agreement with you on
yeah,
this.
yeah.
And the hurricane track model guidance is actually a little bit to the northwest, out in the long range. It actually brings it not too far from Iceland, which, by the way, I think the other day it was 80 degrees there at 10 o'clock at night. So there you go. And the other thing is, by taking a track like this, it is also going to probably have a leftover trough that is going to be hanging in the Atlantic. So if the hurricane freaks out there, if you're thinking, well, what about the next one? Well, the Hurricane Center now has a 70% chance that the wave behind this, and you see where the red X is, somewhere at around 15 and 50, they have it up to a 70% probability that this will become a tropical depression over the weekend. But notice that the turn, and this turn is going to be in response to the weakness left behind by Erin. So it looks like it's going to turn somewhere around 60 or 65, and maybe come close to Bermuda, but we'll see. And then there's another wave behind it that they've got 40 and 40 as far as the probability of development over the next 48 hours, and also over the next 7 days. Joe, we have two super chat hits. Can you elaborate?
Yes, well, I saw Quiet John. He has hit the tip jar, and we always are appreciative of that. Thank you very much to Quiet John. And we also have David Fuller, who has hit the tip jar as well. And we thank David Fuller very much. He has been a longtime fan, says always like the show for the Joes. For Joe's, I have only one more work day this week, tomorrow. Then it's beach time, Friday and Saturday. And I think he's going to have, as long as he doesn't stay too near to the water, I think he'll have a very good time at the beach on
Yeah,
Friday
yeah.
and on Saturday.
Water, the waves are still going to be rough. The water's still going to be roughed up on Friday, probably into Saturday too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no question, because it's just going to take a couple of days for everything to sort of settle down.
I
Uh,
also want to make mention of the fact that, and I'm surprised because he had had a bit of surgery at midday today, but he is apparently on the chat board, Dennis Cassia. And Dennis again had some surgery a few hours ago, but here he is, at least as of a little while ago, on the chat board watching, I'm sure, one of his favorite shows, except when he's watching the Mets, which right now doesn't look good for the Mets because they're losing already 4-0. But anyway,
there you go. All right. You see Erin, you see the shortwave and trough that's produced the clouds and rain that we saw today, and we're seeing this evening. And you'll also notice that the clouds from that trough up across Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and over through New England, they're going west to east. And this is the mechanism that is keeping, if when we do I'll do the upper air in a little bit, and I'll show you what the differences between what we had been seeing on the upper air days and days ago and what wound up being reality, which was all the difference in the world. But in the meantime, The action on the satellite tonight definitely dominated, obviously, by Erin, the system moving through the northeast. Although, if you're way up in northern New York and in northern New England, the weather there is actually not too bad at all. We have some showers and thunderstorms. You see them firing up this evening, as they've done just about every day for well over a week now, in the southern Appalachians, across North Georgia, back through Alabama and Mississippi. Joe showed you the radars there, and there's also some storms blowing up in Louisiana and over into Texas. And you see them here on the radar. We even have a few flash flood warnings up, in West Virginia, two of them in north central North Carolina, and looks like another one in the northeast corner of Alabama, and one severe thunderstorm warning there in northern Mississippi. Just a few scattered showers and one or two thunderstorms on the east side of the Rockies, going up I-25 and heading up into Montana. Storm Prediction Center, there are no severe thunderstorm watches up anywhere. It's a marginal risk across Texas eastward into northwest Georgia and southeast Tennessee, a marginal risk in north central and northeastern Montana and northern North Dakota. And that's until tomorrow morning. As far as tomorrow is concerned, we are seeing a marginal risk in Minnesota and the eastern Dakotas. And on day 3, guessing if the map would change, SPC's website is slow. Marginal risk from eastern Wyoming and northeastern Colorado across Nebraska, and then northeast, cutting Iowa on a diagonal, southeast Minnesota, central and northern Wisconsin, and in the upper peninsula of Michigan. We do have WPC with a half to 3/4 of an inch of rain for the northeast. We're going to probably have another weather front come through over the week, late in the weekend. Dry in southeast Virginia and into eastern North Carolina, which is actually great news because they've had a lot of rain in the last 2 weeks. They went from like severe drought to over wet in that region, and some heavier rains in southern Georgia and coastal South Carolina. You see the orange, the brown, the orange, and the yellowish area out in the ocean just mimics the track of Erin, and an east-west area of heavy rain from eastern Colorado eastward across Kansas and into Nebraska, into Oklahoma, western Arkansas, and southwest Tennessee, and also some significant rains for much of the Southwest. To see areas of an inch and a half plus is not something you normally see, and the monsoon, Joe, is at work there. So I got the GFS up, so we might as well use that. So here's the GFS. You can see the hurricane moves to the northeast and goes out, replaced by weak high pressure. And I agree with Joe. We'll probably see improving weather conditions sky-wise tomorrow afternoon. And certainly Friday and Saturday look really good. And then we've got this front that approaches on Sunday. Although it takes about a day for it, we keep getting these fronts that instead of just moving through, they seem to get to the East Coast, they get hung up. And part of the reason it gets hung up is probably due to the fact that if you look on the lower right, the GFS does show a tropical storm. So that may slow the front down, in which case we may have to wait till later Monday for the front to come through. And then we have this nice, big, dry, cool high that comes in for Tuesday. 552 thicknesses, Joe, Wednesday morning. That's cool. Wednesday, Thursday, and probably holding on to the low dew points right through next Friday, which will take us into the Labor Day holiday weekend.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the dew points are going to get any higher than 59 or 60 over the weekend, and then it drops right back, as you said, Joe, into the mid and low 50s. So very comfortable. And the noise that I hear right now, faintly and off in the distance, is my air conditioner breathing a sigh of relief, because it worked really hard during July, and up until just a few days ago it was working not so much again for the heat but for the humidity. So it looks like we're going to give the old air conditioner maybe a little bit of a rest now for
Right.
a little while.
And we should mention, too, that the dew points are going to go way down because the hurricane is going to be pulling down dry air from Labrador and southeastern Canada down the eastern seaboard. You can see it's like dark green. Those dew points are in the 40s. So we'll see 40s, dew points in the upper 40s and low 50s on Friday. That dry air gets all the way down into southeast Virginia, and then just sort of modifies it to some extent over the weekend ahead of the next front. You see the dew points come back up into the 60s, but you look at all that dry air, 40s, 30s dew points up through the plains and in the upper Midwest. So starting on Tuesday, and here's Wednesday, I mean, you're looking at 40 dew points in the mid 40s going all the way. Oh, I can't wait for this next week. They got a 40, they got dew points to me next Wednesday, Joe, next Wednesday afternoon down to 43. That is, in the
In
summertime here.
August, in
Yeah,
August in the Southland, that's crazy.
and they've got the GFS has got dew points down to the low 50s of the Florida Panhandle. And why is that? Okay, well, look at the upper air. Look at this deep trough that comes into the east. This is a very significant upper low and deep trough early next week that comes into the east. That is a that brings the westerlies all the way down to northern Florida, and the European, I'm going to guess, is very similar. It's about the same. Maybe it's a little less deep than the GFS, but nonetheless, it still also has a very impressive upper trough. And then just going back to what I was saying here with regards to Erin, this shortwave, and I'm back to Tuesday yesterday. That shortwave, if we go back in the long range a week or more ago, was forecast by the models to kind of dive into the Appalachians, into the southern Appalachians, which if Erin had made it to the longitude that it did, would probably be taking a track much closer to the coast and getting much further north than what wound up happening, which is that trough never did dig into the southern Appalachians. It just kind of stayed in that northwest flow, and as a result, it just opened up the door offshore and turned Erin and turned it northeastward out to sea, well to the south and east. And by the way, I want to mention too that I was looking at the marine forecast just in terms of the surf, that the radius of 12-foot seas goes out 450 miles. I mean, that's a lot of distance. So the hurricane probably at its closest point tomorrow will be at maybe 375 or 400 miles to the southeast. But the 12-foot seas go out 450 miles. So that's why you're going to get waves as far, back to you're getting the waves that you're getting. This is very much a powerhouse from that respect.
There's no question about that. No question. Even though it's no longer, people talk about, wow, at one time it was a Cat 5 or 4, and now it's only down to a. It doesn't matter. You've got a very significant tropical cyclone out over the open waters of the Atlantic within striking distance, although thankfully not striking, of the mainland U.S. So it does make for, and it may very well, still in terms of intensity, it may go back up to a Cat 3 before the next day or two goes by. So it's something to watch. We can be thankful that nobody along the eastern seaboard is going to get hit directly by it, but it's close enough to be problematic. So far tonight for North Carolina, and tomorrow probably again for the Delmarva, for the Jersey Shore, and for the New York metropolitan area. As I said, Joe, closest that this thing is going to pass is within 400 statute miles of the New York City metropolitan area. That will be early tomorrow night, which means that probably the times of local high tide will be at their worst or highest tomorrow night for Jersey and Long Island, and again in the next cycle on Friday, early Friday, again for New Jersey and for Long Island shore areas.
Okay, let's do a little Briller Jeopardy.
And I do believe I've got the questions
Yes, you
tonight,
have it.
and I'm going to get them.
And thanks to those of you who hit the like button tonight. We're up to 70. But if you're still with us and you haven't hit the like button and you like the show, hit the like button.
Yeah, we want to ring the bell, don't
I
we?
mean, the show tonight is so good, Joe, that JJ has, unlike last night, where as soon as I started talking, he got off the bed and just and got out of the camera shot. He has been asleep on the bed through the whole show.
And
You
just
can
to,
see him behind me over my shoulder.
I got a message here on before I get to the Briller Jeopardy question tonight from Bob Kelly. Bob Kelly is a member of the Westchester Amateur Astronomers, and he says he remembers Hurricane Erin. We had a Hurricane Erin in 2001, well offshore on September 11th, and he was thinking about at that time all the sinking air, not stinking air, but sinking air from that hurricane outflow that gave us the beautifully clear day with good visibility. And he says, I don't think anyone has mentioned that connection, same name and similar path, but he says, I'm not surprised. So
Right,
I don't know. Just thought I'd mention that.
right.
All right. For Briller Jeopardy, we have three letters tonight to talk about. We have the J's, there's a 5 for that. The K's, there's a 3. And for the L's, we have 4. So before we get out of hand here with everybody saying, this storm and the J and this storm with the L's, I think, why don't we just go one by one? We'll start off with the J's. There are 5 J's that have been retired. And Joe, one that is brought up by David Daniel is Joaquim, and Joaquim indeed is one of the 5 J's that have been retired. So that's the
That's
first on the
one.
list.
David Fuller has Joyce.
And Joyce is not on the list.
But Lou Maurizio has Juan.
Juan, yes, indeed, Juan is on the list. Let me point out with Juan made headlines, went all the way up into Atlantic Canada. And in fact, it made such an impression on the folks who lived in Nova Scotia that when they had a big snowstorm later that winter, they made reference to it as White Juan. In other words, the same kind of activity, precipitation and wind-wise they got from the tropical system, Juan, but also translated into, I guess, blizzard-like conditions, and which is why they called it White Juan. Anyway, Joaquim and Juan, 2 of the 5.
Rich Rothmansky has Jean.
Jean, or is it Jeannie? I guess, yeah, Jean, Geanne. Yes, that is on the list.
David Daniel comes back with Josephine.
Josephine is not on the list. I do remember Josephine in 1984. That was an interesting storm, Joe. The Hurricane Center said the storm would make a sharp right turn near the South Jersey coast, but the storm just kept coming closer and closer and closer, and everybody was getting really bent out of shape. They're saying, like, when is it going to make a turn? When is it going to make the turn? It finally did. It didn't make landfall in New Jersey, but it was kind of a scary situation for many who lived along the Jersey coast.
William Uber brings up one from 1955, Hurricane Janet.
Janet, yes, Janet is on the list.
And that, by the way, with Janet was the only hurricane, the only time where a hurricane hunter plane did not return. They flew into Janet. It was a category close to a Cat 5, and unfortunately, it took them down in the Caribbean. So Janet, how many left?
Only one left.
Only one left. So a number of
Yeah.
you are throwing all sorts of different J names, like Jimmy. Okay. All right. And there's never been a Hurricane Joseph. In the Atlantic, there's never been a Hurricane John.
Jose, no. Jacqueline, Joseph Gaffney, Jacqueline, no. No, Maggie
Bobby
P. We did not
Livingsworth
have
brings up
Julia.
Hurricane. I remember we had a Hurricane Jerry, but he brings up Jerry, but I don't think Jerry was retired.
Well, Rich Rothmansky figures that Rich would be the one to get the last one in the Jays. Hurricane Joan.
Joe, there you go.
Joan. Yes.
Okay, so on
So
to the K's.
the Ks, we have only three Ks. And there's
Uh,
one K that stands out high and above all the Ks and should
uh,
immediately come to everybody's mind. And indeed, here they are: Carol DeChera, Craig Carlberg, Mark D42, Tyler Fenga, Katrina, number one of the
Katrina.
three.
Kyle.
Kyle, I don't know why they didn't retire Kyle. Kyle was a long lasting storm. Uh, in fact, you may remember, Joe, that
I remember the advisories where they just like
the
they
advisor.
were literally writing that they wished it would just go away.
Well, I remember one hurricane forecaster actually started off the technical discussion with "staying alive, staying
Right.
alive."
Um,
No,
did we have a
Kyle's on
Hurricane
the list.
Keith?
Yes, we do have a Keith that has been retired.
Okay, so there's your K's.
No,
Katrina.
we have two. We need three. There's one more.
Oh, we have Katrina
Keith,
and Keith. Those are the only two we have. How about Klaus?
Klaus,
Von
Klaus
Bülow.
is there. Yes,
You got to be a certain age to know who Klaus von
Klaus
Bülow
von
is.
Bülow is. Yeah,
Yes. Okay, so now we're on to the L's, correct?
four L's.
Four L's. Well, we know one of them is Lee.
Um, for whatever reason, Joe, Lee is not on that list.
Oh, I thought it was. William Uber brings up Lenny.
Lenny did make it. Yes,
And David Fuller makes up for his earlier faux pas with Laura.
Laura. Laura. There was a song called Laura. Um, I remember that Spike Jones did a takeoff on Laura, the song. But anyway,
What about Lily?
Now I'm really going back.
What about Lily? Lily!
Lily, Lily, yes, but the people who have Lily on the list, it's not with a Y, it's with an I. Lily. I'm not sure if this is the Lily that affected Puerto Rico on Christmas Day. I think in like 1983 or something. But
All right.
anyway, Lily is on the list.
Did we have a Lisa?
Lisa, I remember, was a potent storm, and Lisa's the name of my sister, but Lisa is not retired, at least not
Well,
just yet.
what about Luis?
Luis, yes, and in fact, I was thinking about Luis the other night when I mentioned storms where Renan and I traveled down to the beach to take a look at the wave. We were at Montauk Point, Joe. We actually were in the Montauk Point lighthouse, watching from that vantage point the waves that were crashing on shore, eastern Long Island, from Luis. Luis was a pretty memorable storm and memorable enough to be retired. So there you go.
A few have mentioned Hurricane Laura, which is from recent years.
Well, we did mention Laura,
Oh,
didn't
we
we?
did? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. How about Lane from Mike McGuire?
Well, we already have all four: Laura, Lenny,
Oh, we
Lily,
got
and
all
Louise.
four.
Excuse me?
We got all four for L.
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Well, that's good. Well, the chat board's been doing really well with this. Excellent. Because I'm getting
Yeah.
older and I'm starting to forget everything. So there you go. Um, all right. So it's coming up on 8:25 Eastern Time, and I think it's time for us to say goodnight. And we'll be here tomorrow night to review what happens during the day tomorrow. And we hope
And we
that you
will be
join
here at
us.
seven. We will be here at 7:35.
Yeah, regular time tomorrow, 7:35. Gives me an excuse to leave the town council meeting a little early. So we will see you all tomorrow night. Have a good overnight and a good day tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.